Hello everybody, that vaccinated rabbit here. Do you ever wonder what it would be like to get rabies? Do you ever wonder how a nostalgic day in the Midwest could turn into one of the most haunting diseases of our history? Well, I have the perfect album for you. Milwaukee Protocol by the Patients, the same collective that gave us VCJD, is a fan project about the mind of someone who has contracted rabies, one of the most lethal diseases that humans have ever discovered. The title itself is a reference to an instance in 2004, where a woman was thought to have seemingly passed the point of no return until several doctors had decided to throw antivirals and other various methods of treatment at the situation. And she survived. This takes place over the course of 4 days, following the same format as the VCJD stages. While a review of this album will give away some spoilers for the inner workings of this, I think it's a little more necessary this time, as it is a treat to listen to both blindly and knowing what to expect. With that being said, let's get started where all of our stories start, normally. Our story starts with the A-side, which is the daytime of the first day, and is full of hypnotic and almost head-filling sounds, with plenty of the different recognizable parts within. Plenty of the first side is made of straightforward but still expertly crafted caretaker tracks. It really invokes this feeling of a forgotten time and era, blinded by the beer goggles of nostalgic yearning for a simpler time. The ability to see back and wonder if these feelings are at a normal level certainly eases the listener from the afternoon into the evening and eventually dusk. The B-side, which simulates the night, is a lot more dark and uneasy. It taps into that altered mind state that enacts primitive impulses. You can tell this by the upping of field recordings, interviews, and the overall tone of this side. The sampling work throughout this day is filled with artists who have either had limited information or this world has turned them into troubled artists. We get things such as Aphex Twin, Radiohead, Kurt Cobain, and of course, Boards of Canada. Now, I'm not a hater of Boards of Canada by any means. It practically got me into music as a hobby. However, it feels way too on the nose for a lot of this side that preys on nostalgic feelings to be made up of samples from artists who evoke that same feeling originally. That's my only criticism of this day, otherwise the whole thing is flawless. I did think that B2 was hit in place by Bjork, but it turns out it's two samples of Oval, a glitch and electroacoustic artist, and an orchestra, so that's pretty cool if you ask me. My favorite tracks overall were probably Quiet Days, Twitching Eyelids, and The Concourse's irritating voices. The second day begins with a little more unease carrying over from the evening of the previous day. That does continue throughout, but in the beginning of the first few tracks, it doesn't feel as bad as side B. The light bringing you a sense of comfort after the roughness of the night. Around the side C, there is a overall feeling of drowning and being dragged down by both the waves and the incapability of the surface at such a depth. Giving in would let you succumb to the beast that lurks below, detailed in C6. But the D side is where things get freaky. A lot of this side relies on the unintelligible music surrounding it and the folly that builds off of the previous night. People speaking in tongues, scratches and knocks on your door, pans clanging and banging around, all while static and swelling voices cloud any thoughts of rationality. The one that gave me the most problems with my anxiety was D5's Mental Precipice, which with the hazed and trudging feeling it gave me. Of course, this wouldn't be a review if I didn't talk about the most recognizable track, D6's Sunrise. Its slow build from mild cacophony to panic attack levels of chaos fills the listener with the utmost paranoia, encapsulating those feelings of neurosis pretty faithfully. Day 2 improves on the ability to create those feelings of discomfort to pure insanity, and looking through a lot of the samples, I couldn't believe some of them for myself. There's the Limp Bizkit, BattleBots, and even the sound libraries, like stock sound libraries. Don't really have many gripes or groans with this, and even we got a little bit more insanity to get to with Day 3. Day 3, in a few words, is something else. Day 3 feels like a laser warming up to shoot a hot beam of particles directly into your cranium. The entire east side of this record is not really a sign of utter despair and chaos. The only real kicker is E1, where we get a bunch of interview clips from a Russian outlet and band. But it does its job to warm you up and sink you into the entire F side, which is just utterly sickening to hear. It feels like the screams of your own voices are resonating inside of your head, just begging with every ounce it has left to end. And in F2, all that chattering side just goes away from your own screams playing back at you over and over again. There's barely anything besides static and noise, and it just makes you want to pass out and never think about it again. And the only thing left to do is succumb to the sedation that has engulfed your body in G1. You can feel yourself giving into the anesthesia and slowly trying to get yourself to sleep as those voices stop screaming at you as your voice is completely fucking gone. All those beautiful voices that were there before and that you missed so much are replaced with the emptiness of your own head stuffed with antivirals and morphine. Day 3 encapsulated that feeling of going insane so well, and deserves a lot more love to it than some other attempts at people going insane. It's not something that just happens spontaneously out of nowhere and is as obvious as the sun's presence. It's subtle and breaks once enough of it has accrued. Everything is gone. There's nothing here anymore, and you are not sure if the calm and relaxed feeling is of the drugs or your body finally shutting down after writhing in pain for so long. The tracks detail this feeling of hopelessness and a feeling of complete and utter agony, but while Day 3's pain was bombastic and angry, Day 4 has the same feeling as death consciousness, where the tracks all have a yearning for wanting it to all end. H1 is that cold open that Everywhere's Stage 6 had, that unwavering drone of zero brain activity. There's nothing to grasp on and nothing to hold on to, on an empty floor somewhere just begging for it to end one way or another. However, I1 is a lot more hopeful sounding to it, like you feel yourself finally breathing again, finally feeling more relaxed and flawless, and it helps with a lot of the sounds being more brighter and higher pitched. We even get some guitar again, which is pretty cool. While it leads you into J1, it sends waves of you falling back in, as if you are failing to be revitalized from this exhausting space, unable to fully escape these confines. You hear a soft melody as clear as day, signaling that it's not the final curtain for you. K1 carries this by being filled to the brim with some of the most beautiful and lively instrumentation in the album yet. But the ending... Ugh. The ending of Milwaukee Protocol is very fucking disappointing. Sure, the sounds were pretty, the motif of Untitled 9 is kind of cool, but it just felt so rushed. It felt unfinished even. It was like... I hate to make this comparison, it felt like Homestuck. It was predictable, didn't make a whole lot of sense, and didn't capture the same magic as all the other endings. Despite my gripes with this ending and the sample usage and a little bit of here and there, I really do think this is something you should check out. It's brilliantly crafted, carefully executed, and deserves a bunch of the praise that it's been receiving online, and definitely the resurgence of people finding out about it. I'll give it a 90 out of 100, perfectly placing it in the S rank of fan projects. Thank you so much for watching, hope you had a good time, and we will see you on the flip side.